So what are we now? 10 days after?
No, just we're into the 3rd week.
We're that far out?
Yeah.
Nice, perfect. So, struggling after left knee, left ankle.
Yeah.
Ran this morning.
Yeah.
Update me on how things are.
This morning felt really good. So I've ran, this is my 4th time today since the 100k. The first 2 were just 2 little 9ks in France with Chad.
Yeah.
And they felt horrible.
Yeah.
But I just sort of knew they were going to feel horrible. It took me about 2 weeks to well, that was the back end of the, France was 7 days post the 100k. Motivation was very low to do anything, but got a couple of 9ks in. And then in week 2, which was last week, still motivation pretty low. Went out and did a trail run on Saturday.
Yeah.
Got about 18. I wanted to do around 25, but there's a route that made it a little bit shorter, made it 18, and I took that option. But I think that also speaks to the fact that, just again, motivation has still been pretty low, and I put that down just to how long I was working so hard for.
Yeah.
This week motivation's been a little bit different. I also need to get my arse in gear, so spent more time in the gym yesterday. Got my body moving well. First time I've put any real load through my legs. And then this morning's ran with a metronome just to start to try to build back efficiency, economy, and work on my cadence.
Yeah.
And I was naturally running a lot faster than I have been doing, without no real, I wasn't intending to. So that felt really good. Only real bits to sort of mention post 100k was, Achilles, left calf and Achilles, very tight. I don't know whether that was, certainly I think off the back of the 100k. I don't know whether the couple of 9ks in France were maybe aggravated a little bit. And
Did
then
you feel it in the 100k, or it's just been?
Do you know what? I can't really remember what I felt in the 100k. I felt like bad cramps from 45k onwards, and just a lot of fucking fatigue.
Cramps just globally or specific areas?
Legs.
Right.
Yeah, legs.
Quads, hammies and calves.
Yeah, I think obviously being slightly ill didn't help. I didn't get any of my nutrition strategy right in the 2 days or the 48 hours prior, and then during the race I couldn't really eat.
Yeah.
Tried to get as much salts down me as possible, but again I think the combination of stomach feeling pretty shit and also not having I didn't have everything on me that I kind of probably would have done if I'd have got my preparation right, if I got head and gear earlier. So yeah, Achilles, and then just like patella pain, but it's almost like it's bruised on the inside.
Yeah. You didn't fall?
No, I didn't fall. No.
Sweet.
But I was worried, I was concerned about this morning, because on Saturday it was really painful during that run.
Yeah.
But it was more manageable this morning. Didn't really.
You said this morning it was there to begin with, and then you warmed up. And
the Achilles is there. I did a good warm up before I left, or goodish warm up.
Yeah.
Achilles was there for first sort of 20 minutes, and I was able to not really think about that. The knee was very minor. If Saturday was got to like a 6 or 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
Today was a 1 or 2.
Yeah. Anything in particular in terms of gradients, uphill, downhill?
Uphill feels more painful.
Okay.
The only thing I, if I'm brutally honest with myself, that I haven't stuck to is plyos in my training.
Yeah.
Even leading to 100k, like very lax on all of that stuff.
Yeah.
So that could be contributing to why the ankles feeling a bit.
Cool. Ankle, Achilles wise, is it Achilles or is it ankle in your mind?
It's Achilles.
It is Achilles.
Yeah.
How's that first thing in the morning?
Tender.
Getting up.
The touch. Getting up's not too bad. See you, Loz. Getting up's not too bad. I only really feel it on. I feel it a little bit walking around, but I wouldn't say I'm like, the awareness isn't particularly heightened.
Yeah.
It's only really been whilst running.
Yeah. Knee? Nothing when you're getting out of bed?
Nothing really.
10-15 minutes in the morning?
Nothing particularly bad. I felt it when I went to jiu-jitsu the other day, like dropping into my knees was fucking painful. But
the contact of it?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. We'll start with the movement assessment. Check in, see how we're moving, and then we'll roll from there.
Nothing major.
So you've ran this morning, then just sat meetings and come here, haven't you?
Yeah. One thing to note is off the back of Sunday's sparring, I get that kind of hip capsule bruising kind of. I felt that a little bit last 48 hours.
Yeah. Okay. Have a lean back for me as far as you can, please. And again. Cool. How's that feel?
Feel a little bit through my hip flexors as I lean back.
Yeah.
Usual kind of just like stiffness.
So from my perspective, you are a bit more restricted than you typically would be. The main thing I see, you're not shifting forward here, which might explain some of this tightness. Knees are bent.
Yeah, I felt my knees going a little bit. Yeah.
Face away from me, please. Left hand down the outside of your left leg, please. What do you feel there?
I feel like I can shift to right.
Yeah, you're moving pretty well. Go right side.
That's not so good.
Where's your restriction?
So that area of my hip that I'm saying I felt a little bit post Sunday.
Cool.
I can kind of get there eventually, but it's almost like there's guarding.
Above your iliac crest or below? Or around?
Oh, like literally around.
Yeah, under your hand there.
Yeah.
Just go down the left side again for me. I just want to watch your feet. Good. On the right side. Cool. Twist your left as far as you can. Sorry, rotate. Yeah. Let everything move. What are you getting?
Thoracic, a bit tight.
Yeah.
Doing that to the right.
Right side.
More tight.
Where?
Thoracic.
One, like just general thoracic, or more one side than the other?
That feels quite localised and pinchy.
Yeah.
That
On
feels
the
like
left.
that feels like my whole side is struggling to allow me to get round.
Yeah.
That Achilles is a little bit where you grab him, but
Just holding that.
I feel like I'm in a broad training camp with sunshine. Beautiful.
Back in the sevens days.
Mm.
So stretching it feels fine.
Feels fine, yeah.
Push to me. Anything?
No, nothing too bad.
At that intensity it feels fine. Go again. Feels fine.
Right at the very end of plantar flexion I can feel it a little bit.
In here?
Yeah.
Or it's not in behind?
No.
Sweet. Cool. Right. I'll come back to the Achilles when I flip you over. Squeeze up for me as hard as you can. Good. Anything?
No.
Good, relax. So all I'm doing at the moment is just screening for pathology and making sure there's nothing sinister going on. I'm pretty confident that there isn't, but it's always good to check if there is. It all looks good from my perspective. The thing that Ollie just mentioned there that feels good or relieving is tibial rotation. That's quite an important movement when you access your midfoot, which provides a lot of the tension and the spring, which is going to push you forward. Obviously with fatigue, that can drop off a little bit, plus or minus as a consequence of, or potentially causing some of the Achilles issues if Ollie's loading slightly differently because of old injuries and things like that have just reached a capacity in an individual event or an individual bout of exercise. It might just be that somewhere else has taken the brunt, but it's just understanding sort of what's led to today, and then we can actually put a decent plan in place to make sure we're good to go in 5 weeks time.
I think so. I keep saying 5 weeks,
yeah.
But yeah, I think it's 5 weeks. 7th of September.
Nothing there?
No, like I say, a little bit of like tenderness on the patella itself, but nothing.
So it's more me touching it, is it?
Yeah.
Around the inside of your kneecap.
Yeah, there.
You feel it a bit there.
That's where it starts, yeah.
Nothing?
It gets big, yeah.
So it's literally almost like just localised to that. If I just drop off that into the joint space.
That's fine.
Fine on you. Femur. Tibia's good.
Yep.
Yeah. And if I go right in the joint line.
No, that's okay.
Good. Feels fine?
Yep.
Good. Gently kick to me. Straight away we started that. What do you feel there? Obviously
weak as piss.
But you're not cramping or anything like that?
No.
Cool. Just go again for me. Okay. Still no cramp the second time?
No.
Go this side just for reference. Good. Gently kick. Obviously no pain this side.
No.
Good. Kick. Sweet. Let's have a feel of your hips. Let's get you the sun cream. Anything there?
No, you're good. I did notice how you put it in the shade for yourself.
That's for Genzo, mate.
The note is that pre and post more so, the usual soft tissue stuff I get done and seeing the osteo like I haven't done.
Okay, so you've not had it done
So the day after the race, I got a sports massage, but she could barely touch me because my quads were fucked.
Yeah.
Then obviously went away. Then she was away. So for 2 weeks, and I hadn't seen Matt the osteo at all.
Yeah.
So, you know, remember I saw you last, I felt great.
Yeah.
Because I was just.
You were on top of it.
It just felt like everything was, all the kind of little restrictions and stuff that I naturally have, I was kind of on top of. That's all just.
Like even just that pressure.
Yeah. Not training jiu-jitsu and not doing as much strength work.
Yeah.
Might put me in a slightly better physical position to complete the ultra. But it ain't gonna. I'm not gonna win it.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's not what this is about. So I just don't want to put some of those areas on too much of a pause. Training jiu-jitsu 3 times a week is stupid, but going once or twice.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
The ultra
and
thing
then
was
hitting
like,
your strength sessions.
Hey?
And then hitting your strength. I think there's value in going because as well you're going to move your body into positions that you wouldn't do consciously in other days, and it's only going to help you from an athletic development perspective. Yeah. You're not going to like me in a minute. So
he's 6'10", 130 kilos, all going through my quad and IT band.
Hey, not with a summer shred program. I'm not 130 anymore.
What are you weighing now?
105. And for reference, I was never 130 kilos.
I just want to give people context. Obviously, I'm 6 foot and 100 kilos, so that's the context of seeing you next to me.
Exactly.
Less
sensitive. Yeah, cool. To touch?
Still, like, it's there, but it's not as.
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's just become a little bit more like.
Desensitized to
the extra.
Yeah, that's what my hands on here will do. It's just whether we can take some tone out of this, you know, from the LCL.
So what do you think that is there? Just from the knee trauma that I've had before?
I just think because of the level of trauma you had, like when you become fatigued and challenged from a physical perspective, its go-to strategy is just to tighten up, and that's what provides you with, or your nervous system and your brain with its sense of stability and safety. You always feel better whenever I treat this.
Yeah.
Whether it's your hip, whether it's your knee, you always feel better, don't you?
Yeah.
And that'll probably be an element of what you said earlier about that more consistent treatment. Just stays on top of it, particularly when your load is sort of progressing as much as it is at the moment. Just see. What do you get?
I mean, everything feels freer.
You still get the outside of the hip.
Nice.
And even more so when you're going downhill, quad strength will be massively important, but then medial hamstring to control the pronation of your full lower body is really important.
Jesus, ow, that is fucking.
You need to back off?
No.
No way you're saying that on camera either.
Sam, turn that shit off.
Yes, and everything like that, you've passed them numerous times, and then it just becomes even more specific. And that's like, this is the thing, like it does become like we are looking at not even the 1%ers, the half percenters to keep on top of things and keep you moving forward. But 100% we want to nail it in that position.
Yeah.
Like from a training perspective, you want to always consider training age and the amount of work that someone's got done. Obviously, there's an element of luck to any injury, but I don't anticipate there'd be a problem in the race. He's going to be sore, he's going to be hard, but I don't think there's going to be any issues from a breakdown perspective. Over the last 2.5 years, he's always consistently hit the strength markers that I need him to hit. That's never been a problem, and that is going to be the most protective physical quality, both to prevent injury, but then also from a performance perspective. And then everything around that is supplementary to it. So like if you think of it like a pyramid, strength and cardiovascular fitness are the two main things. The fitter he is, the less he'll fatigue. So even as he becomes more tired, there's less likelihood of injury, and then layer that in with strength, and the two complement each other really nicely. And then other than that, it is just sort of general wear and tear. We constantly tweak and work on biomechanics. Like Ollie said earlier, I think he mentioned about now trying to work on cadence, which should make him a far more economical and efficient runner, and just reduce some of the strain on joints, on tendons, on muscles. So I have no concerns other than the unavoidable that it'll be hard.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think.
No, I think the same. I'll be doing something different if I thought otherwise, and I'd be more concerned. I think the only unknown for us is, like I say, the up and down nature of each day, how our bodies will adapt to that, after a couple of days of it. But I don't think you'll know until you're in it, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, we don't have the access to the elevation or the terrain that we'd probably have liked to consistently living in Hertfordshire, but we've got to hold down families and businesses and do shit other than go training all the time. So
that's part of it, isn't it, as well? Yeah. I think one of the things that I spoke with Genzo about earlier, is that we're going to try and look at the days and try and figure out what the worst day will look like, and try and replicate elements of that, if not all of it, in a single bout of exercise. However, we have to manipulate that, and then we can work towards a worst case scenario. And then from a physical and a psychological perspective, we know that we're ready to do what we need to do, and then just sort of put appropriate recovery strategies right from the basic sleep, nutrition in place for the day or for the event, and then supplementary things of different techniques and treatments that we can use while we're there, and make sure we stay as fresh as possible.
I always get asked around injuries, and usually sort of when people take up running and stuff, it's all the sort of tendinopathies and things, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
And people kind of asking what the best way is to train around it. Honestly, my advice, whether it's Alex and Move, which is always my go-to, it's just to link up with someone who knows prehab and rehab, injury prevention, and how to return back to doing what you want to be doing for an event, or even just in training. I think that most people online, PTs, probably are ill-equipped to be giving you, or maybe not ill-equipped, but I think the advice they'll be giving is fairly generic. I think going and speaking or seeing someone who's specialises in that is always my go-to.
What's the danger in getting the wrong advice for this sort of thing?
I don't think the danger's particularly. I just think that a lot of people now, because of what's been popularised on socials, and rightly so, people are looking to challenge themselves. And I think when it comes to training, nutrition, sleep, people are investing the right sort of time and energy into it, or the necessary. But when it comes to going and seeking out the professionals, when it's either if it's too late because they've got an injury, or in the build up to something that is, like I say, a bit more stress on the body that they're used to, I just think having that support team around you is invaluable. If you think about the risk associated with not getting the right advice, in terms of just wasting your time and maybe not being able to compete, or having a poor time competing because of pain, I think the investment, at least, to follow the right accounts and to engage with those people, even if it's just advice and information, I think is certainly the way forward. I think if we're using social media as a source of energy, having the strength coaches, having the people that specialise in aerobic work, having the people that specialise in injury prevention and rehab, I think it's a good way to fill your time, your feed. It just builds more, I think, just more personal IQ around training and keeping the body prepared, and also more autonomy, and also then confidence in the people that you're speaking to being the right sort of people for the right things.
So just based on what you were just saying in terms of the investment of time, energy, and also money, we can't ignore that. I think it's very important that you find someone that can provide you with a very clear and concise, objective assessment, one of what the problem is, but two, what has caused the problem and what we're going to do about it. I think over the years, physiotherapy or therapy as a profession has sort of become quite lazy, and there is a bit of a transition at the moment for people to go back into, or for professionals to start to work more objectively and have a more performance focused mindset. But the work that we're doing today is supplementary to that. We've worked together for a long time, you have a fantastic program in place anyway, But if you're seeing a physio or a therapist time and time again, and it's just the same treatment techniques, and there's no sort of formal assessment which one shows your levels of performance at the injured area, but then also potentially more globally, and a program in place that is moving that forwards alongside this sort of thing, which will help pain in the short term but not create longer term adaptations. I think you just need to look for that right person. And I speak to people sort of on social media all the time, and they're talking about going to see people, and I would never want to badmouth another professional, but I just say to people, make sure you're getting objective data, you're very clear on what the problem is and how you're going to improve it, and then it's a worthwhile investment. In terms of when people should go, it's one of them. You could view it as a proactive, I'm going to go and train for this, so I'm going to get assessed at the beginning and get a program. We do get a lot of people that come to us for that reason. But then also, as soon as it starts, for me, an injury is when it compromises your training. Like having an ache or a pain that doesn't change your training, and it doesn't cause you to miss sessions, can be quite a normal training effect, and it might just tell you that you've done too much too soon, and you do just need to back off. But if it becomes compromising and you're missing session after session, then that's the time to invest. But again, like all said, find people that you trust online and like literally just message them. I answer questions multiple times a day of people that have aches and pains and niggles, and like that for me is as valuable to give them just some reassurance or direction as it is actually having them on the treatment bed or going through an assessment.
It's easy for me to say, but like, I just think there's just so much more value in going to the source. So it's all well and good me regurgitating what you might do to me, right, in terms of like preparing me for a 100k ultra. But when you're just as accessible as I might be on socials, as an example, just go to the source. Like I said, it depends. I appreciate the financial commitment, but it doesn't even need to be a financial commitment just to like absorb the information and connect with people who specialise in that field. And I think what was so good with working with Alex at the get-go was the objective data, like looking at the athletic qualities that I had, you know, all the tests, using the force plates, using those as baseline data to then inform a program and then be able to retest to see whether the training that I was doing was improving some of those things.
And like with that objective approach, yes, there is a couple of things that you can't do sort of remotely, but most things can be done remotely with innovations and apps and things like that now, that you can do everything from the comfort of your own home or your own gym. So the performance mindset towards it is one of the big things as well. Like it's not just a preventative thing or a reaction thing. It's actually, right, this process is going to make me better athletically at the end, but it's also that in turn is going to allow me to perform better, and people that perform better typically experience less injuries. Rotate left for me.
Yeah, much better.
Yeah, toe touch for me.
Yeah.
It's the stuff that turns you onto here that had just locked up. So like this had restricted you. A little bit of internal rotation, it's anterior glute med, serratus posterior. Just the way the rib cage changes as you rotate that way.
So what those
So today I'm going to give you another seated back relaxation. Just that and the cross body breathing. And then I'll ping over some specifics after that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thanks, Prof.
My pleasure as always.
Appreciate you.